Imagine this. You wake up to a beautiful morning, your favorite song playing on the clock radio. You look around your cozy bedroom, walls covered in band posters. You get up and look through your tiny closet. Then, you grab your favorite outfit and wait for your turn to get ready in the shared bathroom. You run into the kitchen and have breakfast, a banana and Eggo waffles. Then, you grab your bagged lunch and head to school on your bike. You make the routine stops along the way, picking up your friends as you go. When school lets out, you already know what your plans are. After dinner, you and your two best friends are going to meet up and play catch. There's only one rule: be home by the time the streetlights come on. A typical day for an 80s kid. Now picture this. The morning is still quite beautiful, but you hardly notice since you've already logged onto social media. You lose track of time and race to your walk-in closet. After sifting through the mound of clothes, you grab your Roots sweatshirt and Adidas sweatpants. You've made a mental note to yell at your mom for not washing your Roots sweatpants. It just looks silly if it's not a set. As you dash down the stairs, you can already taste the delicious avocado toast. Slipping on your socks and slides, you collect your lunch money and call for an Uber. When school lets out, you already know what your plans are for the night. Head straight from dance class to Starbucks to meet up with the gang. You enjoy a $10 unicorn frappuccino and spend hours Snapchatting your other friends. From my point of view, despite the progress and advancements that we have made, life was essentially better in the 80s. We lived more simply, we had a better grasp of financial well-being, and our social connections were more personal, and in my opinion, more meaningful. In so many ways, life in the 80s was much simpler than it is today, and this simplicity is something I often wish for. Nowadays, the world never stops moving. We have become so fixated on convenience and immediate gratification. It's the gotta-have-it-now mentality. What we ask for, we receive, often shipped directly to our door within 24 hours. We no longer see the value or reward in waiting for things. Our houses are getting bigger, our cars are more luxurious, and we all need 4-star vacations to cope with this relentless lifestyle. And by the way, these vacations must be Instagram-worthy. Gone are the days of family road trips. Our focus is turned to how we compare to others. Kids can't just be kids anymore. They play less and are overscheduled. Keeping up with social media standards on their new iPhones has replaced running through a sprinkler on a hot day. The average age of a child getting their first smartphone is 10.3 years. And by the age of 12, 50% of children have their own social media accounts. Kids have entered this hectic world where everyone is comparing and competing, but they lack the tools to make sense of it. We shouldn't be surprised that kids feel the pressure of this lifestyle. And in fact, rates of anxiety have increased steadily over the last several decades. The competition and pace has become overwhelming. This new 24/7 lifestyle has also changed the way that we use money. We need to fill our bigger houses with things, and often the best of things. When something gets a bit old, we immediately buy a replacement. We have fallen into a cycle of consumerism. The idea of waiting for something doesn't seem to exist. Can we possibly appreciate things the same way if we never have to wait for them? That brings me to my next issue. We no longer ask whether we can afford these new things. We only care that we have the credit to acquire these new things. The result is consumer debt that is dramatically higher than what we saw in the 80s. The amount of debt to personal disposable income has risen from 66% in 1980 to over 150% in 2011 and has continued to rise. In order to keep up with these extreme spending habits, the number of dual income earning families have almost doubled since the early 80s. This has resulted in a major shift in family functioning. My mom had a parent who stayed home, as did all of her close friends. A stay-at-home parent used to be the anchor of a family. Our current spending habits have given many families no choice but to earn more money. It has become a vicious cycle. Maybe not everyone has noticed how hectic our lives have become or how driven by money we are nowadays. But surely everyone in this room has seen that communication has changed and suffered drastically. In the 80s, you grew up with your close friends. You went on adventures, and believe it or not, your parents didn't always know where you were. You had experiences and figured things out together. And most importantly, you talked. You talked face to face for hours on end about everything and nothing, because that's what friends did. Now kids travel in packs, and those packs are ever changing. And we text. Teenagers send an average of 110 texts a day. We use as few words as possible, and then we find short forms for those words. Even worse is the things we talk about. We feel the need to broadcast our entire lives to the world. We text other friends when we're hanging out with a friend beside us. We crave online popularity and look to strangers for validation. It all just seems so empty. We don't see the world behind the screens in front of us. When I think about life in the 80s, I get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. The music was amazing, the fashion was great, and it brought us so many iconic TV shows and movies. But personally, I feel as though I missed out on an overall better experience of living. Things were simpler, more genuine, and a little slower. We didn't own as many things, but it wasn't absurd to think that when you grew up, you would own your own home. And people made more time for each other. They had lasting relationships and made personal connections. No, not everybody got a medal, and not everyone was a winner, but they cheered loudly for the person who was, and they meant it.